Hey folks, so this is my first time recording a speed paint, so I apologize if it kind of sucks to look at because I'm zooming in and out a lot. Uh, I've really needed to do speed paints for a long time, and I keep kicking myself for always forgetting to press that record button. And, you know, you might be wondering, Mist, why don't you just use one of those other apps, like Krita or Clip Studio Paint that have native built-in speed paint functions? Well, the truth is I hate myself, but I also use Adobe because I hate myself. And the funny thing about Adobe is that Adobe hates artists. And so, they just don't like giving us features that actually improve our lives and make things a little better. The second reason I don't record speed paints is because I'm never actually sure if a painting is going to turn out good. Because if you look at the early stages of any given painting or any piece I work on, they actually look pretty shit. They don't start out looking great. There's always like that ugly stage that you have to get through in each painting. And it's a hurdle you have to overcome, because if you never allow yourself to get past the ugly stage, then you'll never make a finished piece. Anyway, this particular piece is Alexstrasza from Warcraft. But hey, she's not an elf, she's a Tauren. Actually, she's a dragon. But the funny thing about Dragonflight, the most recent WoW expansion at the time of recording, is that, you look at the loading screen, and there's like 5 elves staring at you, which is kind of weird because it's a dragon expansion. You wouldn't think, it would be so elf-centric, but it is what it is. So I was approached by a client of mine who came up to me and was like, hey, what's up with this world of elfcraft, elf crap that we're dealing with? Like, why are all the dragon aspect visages, so elfish? And, they pitched this idea of, a series of portraits where each of the dragon aspects would be kind of reimagined as a different race in Warcraft. This is when the painting starts to get good, by the way. So anyway, different races in Warcraft. I gave myself some like self-imposed rules with the idea. Namely that, for one, I think it should be lore accurate, so what would the dragon aspects choose as visages, supposing, they're just doing it for the first time. So elves maybe don't even exist yet, and we're going with like some pre-War of the Ancients races for this project. So we're thinking stuff like Tauren, Pandaren, Furbolgs, Earthen, trolls, Nerubians, stuff like that. And that's about the idea that we had. Lore accuracy is an important thing here, and the second thing is, what would look interesting. Because, there's gnomes and dwarves, but those they're just humans, but wider and smaller. So I didn't really want to do that. And also, there's already a bunch of visages for gnomes and dwarves. There's Chromie, and there's the one dwarf from the Dragonflight quest line. It was a red dragon, and he was probably the most interesting character in all of Warcraft. One of the most interesting, anyway. I did really like that quest. And also, I liked the one with Dragon Moth Orcs in the Ruby Dragonshire in Dragonflight. So, honestly, there's a funny phenomenon with Warcraft where I feel like a lot of the side stories end up being a lot more interesting than the main story, which is kind of like very intentionally bombastic and full of great marketing moments and cool, epic scenes. But it doesn't always lead to the most interesting storytelling, in comparison to some of the side quests that, that one Crusader Forsaken who was redeemed by a Naru, or, I don't know. There's a lot of interesting side quests if you know where to look in Warcraft, and I think it's because, I might be wrong, but individual writers tend to get more creative freedom when they're working on a quest series, as opposed to, the main story beats, which are kind of designed by committee in, like, a meeting room. And, the marketing department has to kind of approve it and make sure that you know, it tracks pretty well for what they're trying to do. Maybe that's just my theory, I don't know, but I think Warcraft is a world with such interesting lore and not the best execution for telling the story of that lore always. But even so, it has such a special place in my heart because I've been in this world for over half my life. And I just deeply value it. Is a thing to write about and draw about. I mean, like 90% of my art is all Warcraft anyway, right? So I feel like it's no secret that, you know, I'll probably be drawing it forever. And, you know, maybe Blizzard will hire me on for Hearthstone someday, but, you know, let's not get our hopes up too early. I mean, I've been drawing for about 5 years now. Little over 5 years. I started in 2019. And you can actually see my old DeviantArt with all my old progress. From the very ugly stages of my progression to where I am now and doing weird stuff with shading and this. I don't know what I'm doing right now, but I mean, art's a process, and I really like the process. And I think the cool thing about speed paints is that you get to show off that process and a lot of your thought decisions. And I really, really wish that I had started doing speed paints earlier, because it would have been so cool to see, and maybe kind of analyze what I was doing in earlier artworks, and maybe learn from that, because I do think I've lost some of the techniques that I used to have in the past. For example, I used to draw really quickly. I used to just bang out pieces, and now I procrastinate a bunch. It often takes me a while to finish things. I mean, and there is more detail now, which could be an explanation, but at the same time, I don't know. I just there was a certain work ethic that I used to have that I miss, but I'm kind of recovering it now. Like, and that's why another reason I haven't been doing speed paints is because sometimes pieces take like a month to make, and I don't remember to press record on every time I decide to start painting. And sometimes I work very sporadically, like I'll just paint for like an hour or two, and then, you know, if I were to do a speed paint composed of like, I don't know, 20 videos and have to like arrange them, I don't know, it just feels like it'd be a pain in the ass to do. So I think mainly I'll do speed paints for pieces that like don't take too long, maybe stuff I can finish in more or less one sitting, much like this piece was pretty much mostly done in one sitting aside from the sketch. But I kind of feel weird doing speed paints of sketches, given that I never know if a sketch is going to turn out good. So I don't like recording it. I don't know. I should, though. I really should. Because it'd be better for everybody. And, I mean, the truth is nobody is going to watch this. Like, if you've made it this far, good for you. Kudos, because I don't expect anyone to get past my rambling. As I epileptically zoom in and out on this Taran piece. And I apologize for that, for all the zooming. That's just how I draw. That's just how we do things. I'm a zoomer. It's the way we roll. Anyway, I'm kind of running out of things to say, so I'm just going to leave you with the drawing as it nears completion, and I hope you enjoy. And thank you. Goodbye.